What is it? Does anybody know what it is?
Carbon fibre.
This is what everybody wants in the car, a big knob.
Right then, welcome back to the channel, and this is the first video of 2024. So it's currently the 2nd of January. We've got a lot happening to get ready before this year's race season. And in front of me, what you can see right now is one of 2 TTs. So if you're a subscriber on the channel or follow what we're doing racing, we've got a couple of race cars, we've got a few race cars. We've got 3 race cars, we've still got 4 race cars. That might change this year, we might have less. But at the minute we've got 4 race cars. 2 of them are petrol and 2 of them are diesel. But that's going to change this year as well, because this TT is going to get a diesel lump in it. And the reason why I've said a diesel lump is because this project's actually been delayed because of what turned up to go in here. So I had them put that clip up.
So this might slow things down a little bit because we ordered a Cuaa engine for the TT and then this turned up. What is it? Does anybody know what it is? Don't even know what it is. It's like, I think in Germany do they call an engine a lump? Because we've asked for a lump, like you would over here. We've got this. Things might be delayed until we find the engine.
So obviously we can't fit a physical steel lump into the engine bay, which is why finally this TDI lump actually arrived. So at the minute this is pretty much a stock Cuaa engine. We've done quite a few videos going into a little bit more technical detail on the Cuaa. This is a 2-litre bi-turbo. It's very similar in a lot of ways to the normal 2-litre oval port, but then a lot different in a lot of other ways as well. At the minute, all we've done is remove some fuel lines, remove some coolant lines. There's still quite a bit to do to this before it goes into the TT, which is what Paul and Tom are going to be starting today. So we're going to let them crack on. That's got to come out first. Have a bit of a tidy up. I think we're going to be doing some other bits around the car, maintenance work, obviously getting ready for the first race of the season later on this year. And then that has got to go in there. So we'll check back in when we're a bit further along. So we're about 5 or 6 hours on from the introduction of this video yesterday, and as you can see, it's already looking very different. The engine and gearbox are now on the floor. A few panels off it compared to yesterday. And then Paul is currently untangling some wiring, but it looks at it.
Yeah, they're stripping inside out.
So once we've got all the petrol loom and everything out, guessing we just need to swap that for diesel one.
Yeah, we need to make the full loom for the car. So it's got the 2 PMUs in it, the ECU Masters dash, and all that lot to wire up in it as well.
So you've got plenty to do.
Yeah.
Plenty to do.
Yeah.
Luckily, we started early. We've still got, what?
Couple of months.
Yeah, 3, 4 months.
Yeah.
Probably 3 months before we need to start testing,
Yeah.
and then first race probably.
Yeah. So I'm hoping this is pretty much going to be done within like a month or so, pretty much.
Nice.
What else we've got going on as well? So,
Yeah, is this, are we changing panels on this one as well?
Yeah, this one's getting the carbon fibre as well.
Yeah.
I think this is probably getting the carbon fibre bonnet as well. Small bits.
All the carbon fibre. Carbon fibre.
Carbon fibre, carbon fibre, carbon fibre.
Plenty to do on this. But keep plugging away, won't we, Paul?
So, the TT petrol to diesel conversion is in full swing at the minute. There's little bits and bats happening, but with a RS3 time attack thing going on, that's got a little bit of attention the last few days. But then this turned up just as we started ripping that to bits. So this was the last piece of the puzzle to get the engine together and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, this has come from Cuaa. This is what this amount of money that Adam will put up buys you.
Wow! Okay!
I think it's a frivolous expense. They reckon it's going to be the best thing we've ever done to the car, which they would say that because they're selling it. But the proof will be when we get to track and two identical cars, which they're going to be. The one with the sequentials going tons faster. So this is the phallus. This is what everybody wants in the car. A big knob, big shift knob. Stop getting ideas. The knob's usually in the driving seat. So this is very light, but this is not very light. So we weighed it before. It weighs a bit more now. It's got this on, but they were 2 kilograms difference. So this was 2 kilograms lighter than the standard O2Q gearbox.
One of our manual gearboxes, 51.5 kilos. Sequential gearbox, 49 kilograms.
We're not trying to make it lighter for anything other than keeping it strong. I'd have thought it would be a bit lighter, but it's not. So anyway, that's that. This is quite a bit lighter than original and CAE shifter and stuff like that. So Scott's always wanted one. He drove a mini challenge car with one and he said it felt amazing. So the next step is to get the release bearing in, which we use the TTRS ones in the race cars because some of the Sachs ones don't seem to last in the race cars, and the odd time they're busting the road cars, but that's because they moved the manufacturer to China, so blame Sachs, not us. The TTRS ones are still German made, but they're 5 times more expensive or whatever. But anyway, that's by the by. So we're going to put that on. The things we've got to contend with then, obviously it's a bit easier to run the cable because there's only one. You're not having to try and get 2 through the bulkhead. Go to the reverse lockout so you can't accidentally get it into reverse. I don't think we need to go through and check all these bolts, but whether it's worth trying them, I don't know. But then, obviously, you see these wires coming off here. Inside here, there'll be a load cell, which senses when you're pulling on this, and that'll do the throttle cut. At least if you had an aftermarket ECU, it would. We're going to work on that. We think we've got a solution. We're going to do something to do with the brake pedal because we disabled that anyway. We've not got a brake pedal sensor, at least not one that goes to the ECU. So we're going to try and have a play. We're going to find all the maps. I don't think we're quite there yet to make sure that we can do the cut properly. But then for the way down, obviously if you had paddles, like nearly every paddle shifted car, whether it's got a sequential or a DSG, that blips on the way down. The problem is, talking to quite a few people that know more than we do about it, if you're trying to introduce a throttle blip on the way down, it's already too late. Once you've put your hand on that, it's too late. When you pull a paddle, the blip starts. The revs are dropping before the sort of mechanism starts to move the gear, because you don't want to be on the throttle as you're trying to move the gear, because how the dogs are shaped. It's a shame that we've not got this in bits, but we'll try and put a picture of what it looks like inside. But that'll grab on the way up and on the way down as such. So basically, we should be able to just brake, no clutch, and just go bang, 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 bang. Whether we do that, we'll see. I think we're going to have a play and see. The prerequisite for buying this was the fact that it wouldn't need any rebuilds during a full season of racing. We said how much we're going to do. If it breaks before that, I don't know what we'll do, because as with any motorsport item, there's no warranty implied or given usually. But I'd hope that the guys at Cuaa are going to look after us, because we've been talking for quite a while and they wanted us to have one a fair while ago. But finding something that'll do 400 foot-pounds for 2 or 3 hours at a time, pretty difficult. So yeah, expensive. Scott always wanted one. He's going to get one now. And then he says it'll be that amazing that I want one as well. But I don't think I want to spend that much money. But we'll see. Anyway, talking about a gearbox for quite a while. This is going to be a massive video. If not, whether it's going to be finished in one video, I don't know. But anyway, whatever's next will come up next. See you in a bit. So it's been a while since I've talked about this car. I'm not sure even if I've featured on this well, I will have been on this video about the gearbox itself, but yeah, I've not talked about the car, I don't think, anyway. Or I can't remember talking about it. But anyway, so the engine magically appeared in because Tom didn't know how to press record on a camera, so that's that. So the reason there's a massive gap at the back here is because we need to do a bit of testing next week, which will show you what we're testing on the other car. That's in the fab shop at the minute. But the gearbox is here in all its billet loveliness. Paul's just done all the wiring, which you probably already saw. So now all this extra bit, there's quite a bit of extra stuff going on here, because this is not even the engine loom. This is the loom that's going back to the dash, because we've got turbo speed, we've got pre-turbo pressure and temperature. We've got the gear position, which is here, straight on the gearbox, because on the other car with a manual box, that's just on a maths from speed versus RPM basis. So if you put clutch in, it doesn't really know what gear you're in. But obviously, we're sequential, we need to know. It's got the strain gauge on the gear shifter itself. So that obviously can measure when that'll even kick out a different voltage when you're just resting your hand on that gear stick. So you've got to make sure you set the parameters right for that, so it's not cutting when you're just resting on it. I've heard that a few times. Yeah, the wiring is looking pretty neat so far. We've just got then the rest of the engine loom to get in and stuff like that. So quite a bit of work already still to do, even though there's been quite a lot of work already done. I've not seen this one before. I don't know where this bias valve's come from, but it looks expensive. I think Scott must have ordered that, because anything that's expensive, Scott generally orders it. Yeah, it looks a million mile away, but once we get a few little bits and bats done on the other car, this should come together pretty quick. The carbon doors are here. The mirror that's on the carbon door weighs nearly as much as the door itself. With a lock, putting the lock and the mirror in probably does double the weight of that door. Carbon tailgates on this one, which it's a shame we did a full show quality paint job on this. This was like 10 layers of paint to get it to how it is. But anyway, we're taking all that away and trying to make it lighter. So yeah, this is not a million mile off. I don't know when we're going to stop this video, because it's probably getting very long, but we'll go over to the fab shop, and that might be the end of this video, and we'll finishing off with the fab work, then we'll start putting more bits back on this. So anyway, we're back. So we're just over at fab shop. I think you've seen it on a previous video, but we've resorted to, these are off a Volvo truck. This is what we're having to put in the hot side of the turbos. Maybe not as bad with this new turbo, but this is what we put in the hot side of the turbos to get the flex. And then we V-band off the turbo, one of our normal V-bands, and then the intercooler, I don't think you'll be able to see it from here, but Adam will B-roll it in. Off the intercooler, we put one of the vibrant, flexible V-bands in, so you've got that with the movement and that allowing a bit of misalignment and a bit of movement as well. And we seem to have had pretty good luck with that. The only problem we had with these ones, some of these rings were machined differently and we didn't realise, so then the clamp weren't grabbing it. But anyway, we've sorted that. So that is like the bulletproof boost pipe arrangement. But the only reason we've got that is when we've got the temperature sensor in, we'll be able to see how hot it will getting pre-turbo, because all the sensors are post-turbo, and that will get into, I think, 70s or whatever with the old intercooler. But pre-turbo, that'll be probably 200 degrees, which the silicons that we produce do work at that. It's absolutely no problem, but it's when you're running for 2 and 3 hours at a time, they just start getting a bit soggy, and then it starts getting a lot of heat into the stainless clamp, which then loosens the silicon off and just pops off. It won't really cause as much trouble, other than every now and again a boost pipe would drop off, but mid-race that is a problem. So as you can see here as well, it looks a little bit more elaborate what we've got going on here, but this is basically the 2263 turbo that we sell for the Amarocks, which does 350, 380 on the 3 litre engines. It's got a turbo speed sensor in it, which we put to the dash. We've made this massive bracket, and obviously I had to top mount it. I'd prefer for the weight distribution to be bottom mounted, but it is what it is. We've had to lift it up. And it also moves the turbo away from the bulkhead a little bit down at the bottom, which is where then it gets into your feet and just makes you absolutely roast in the middle of summer. So it should be a bit cooler. We've got the funky heat cover on there as well. So yeah, it's meant a complete re-engineer of that side of things, so it's going to be new downpipe, new exhaust. Again, I think it's probably the 5th exhaust we've had on these, but this is what happens when you keep changing things, you don't just build it once. And then the other thing you can see here, this has been a lot of work to get to fit because all the ductwork's all been done differently and stuff like that, but absolutely massive intercooler. Hopefully we're down below 50 degree inlet air temps now, which we were doing sort of 320 horsepower on the dyno with 40, 50 degree inlet air temps. On the track, they never really dropped below 70, which it's not a problem, but it's not going to help us. We're probably dropping 20 horsepower with that. We could probably do a dyno test and see. But as well as doing all that, it's probably going to end up in a separate video. Harry's ended up printing a load of stuff and cutting this out of die bond and messing about, but basically we're making a new front bumper and this is going to get moulded, and then it's going to be a lot more sort of clean aero-wise. There's the only brake ducts and the intercooler ducts are going to be catching the air, then everything else should be pretty slippery. So yeah, lots going on. I think we'll probably, when this is finished, we'll just outro with whatever Adam can see, and then we'll start again with the testing and then the rebuild of the other car, because it's whatever this ends up finishing off with is just getting copy and paste onto the other car, and the only difference in the other car will be sequential gearbox, potentially some fancier suspension, but we'll see when that arrives.